I remember the day it happened like it was yesterday, the day the red dress girl took her own life in the student dorms. Her name was Sarah, a quiet and mysterious girl who always seemed to be lost in her own thoughts. She had a beauty that was haunting, with long dark hair that cascaded down her back like a waterfall, and eyes that held a sadness that seemed to pierce right through you. Sarah was always seen wearing a red dress, a vibrant shade that stood out against the dull and dreary backdrop of the dorms. It was as if she was trying to make a statement, to be noticed in a place where everyone seemed to blend into the background. But despite her bold choice of attire, she remained a mystery to those around her. I remember the whispers that spread like wildfire after her death. Some said she had been struggling with depression. Others claimed she had been haunted by a dark presence that drove her to the edge. But no one knew the truth. No one could understand the pain that had led her to take such a drastic step. And then, one night, I saw her, the ghost of the red dress girl, wandering the halls of the dorms in a trance-like state. Her eyes were empty, devoid of the spark that had once captivated those around her. She moved with a grace that was both eerie and beautiful, her red dress billowing behind her as if caught in a phantom breeze. I followed her, unable to resist the pull of her presence. She led me to her room, a small and cramped space that felt suffocating in its emptiness. The walls were bare, save for a single mirror that reflected the ghostly figure standing before it. And there, in the corner, was the red dress, hanging limply from a hook on the wall. As I watched, the ghost of Sarah turned to me, her eyes locking onto mine with a fierce intensity. And then she spoke. Her voice was a whisper, a mere echo of the vibrant girl she had once been. "Why are you here?" she asked, her words hanging in the air like a heavy fog. I didn't know how to respond. I was drawn to her, to the tragedy that surrounded her like a shroud. I wanted to understand, to unravel the mystery of her death and set her spirit free. But as I stood there, searching for the right words, the ghost of Sarah began to fade. Her form grew fainter and fainter, until all that was left was a whisper of a presence, a lingering echo of the girl she had once been. And then she was gone. I was left alone in the room, the red dress swaying gently in the still air. I reached out to touch it, to feel the fabric beneath my fingertips, but it was as if I was touching nothing at all. The dress was just an illusion, a memory of a girl who had once walked these halls. But the ghost of Sarah remained with me, haunting my thoughts and dreams. I couldn't shake the feeling that she was trying to tell me something, to share a piece of her story that had been left untold. And so I began to investigate. I delved into the history of the dorms, searching for any clue that might shed light on Sarah's tragic end. I spoke to her former roommates, to the staff who had known her, to anyone who might have a piece of the puzzle. And slowly, the pieces began to come together. I learned of the struggles that Sarah had faced, the demons that had tormented her in the dark hours of the night. I discovered the secrets that she had kept hidden, the pain that had driven her to the brink of despair. And as I pieced together her story, I felt a connection to Sarah that went beyond the grave. I understood her in a way that no one else had. I saw the beauty and the darkness that had warred within her soul. And then, one night, as I sat alone in her room, surrounded by the ghostly remnants of her presence, I felt her with me once more. The air grew cold, the shadows lengthened, and there she was, standing before me in all her ethereal beauty. "Why are you here?" she asked again, her voice a whisper on the wind. And this time I knew what to say. "I'm here to listen," I replied, my words filled with a quiet determination. "I'm here to hear your story, to understand the pain that drove you to this end." And as I spoke, the ghost of Sarah began to change. Her form solidified, her eyes regained their spark, and a smile played at the corners of her lips. And then she began to speak. She told me of her struggles, of the darkness that had consumed her, of the pain that had driven her to take her own life. She shared her fears and her regrets, her hopes and her dreams. And as I listened, I felt a sense of peace settle over me. I knew that Sarah's spirit was finally at rest, that she had found a way to share her story with someone who would listen. And as the first light of dawn began to creep through the window, the ghost of the red dress girl faded away, leaving behind only a sense of closure and a newfound understanding of the beauty and the tragedy that had once walked these halls.